Welcome to Torontopia. Today's video is a tour of one of Toronto's most prominent neighborhoods, and that is Rosedale. It is the #1 neighborhood for old money and people of power, business executives, CEOs, basically the establishment. And if you come from a family that's had money for generations, this is usually where you live. This is where the old money resides. The houses here are quite nice, but they aren't huge mega mansions. That's usually in the new money neighborhood of Bridle Path, and that's where Drake's new house is going. But this is old money, where they like to be a little bit more discreet and a little, have nice houses, but like nothing that draws too much attention. So that's where we're heading. Now, right now we are on the corner of Yonge Street and Bloor, which is really the Yorkville neighborhood. But Rosedale is just a hop, skip, and a jump away. It's basically a couple of blocks. Once you go into the ravine, the Rosedale ravine, you are in Rosedale. So it's a little bit more secluded. It's very close to the downtown. You just walk there in under 5 minutes, but you're in this secluded area that's just kind of away from all the hustle and the bustle. So here's where we are heading off now. Right now we are turning north rather, and heading to the Don Valley Ravine. So this is just 1 block east of Yonge Street. You just go a couple of blocks north, and from here we are descending into the Rosedale Ravine. So right now we are in Rosedale. So I'm going to walk to get to like the heart of the area, which is where some of the nicer homes are. There are very secluded streets here with dead ends, so you really have to walk around in different areas to see all the different looks to the neighborhood. Different streets have different, like the character of the houses is different in different areas. Here's a private school. I stopped to ask if this was a public park or a private park, and I was told no, it's a private school. I thought it was a park at first. So continuing on. It's amazing how this very wealthy area is right near the downtown core, and once you're here, you would never think that it's right basically in downtown Toronto. This tour was a bit long, so I cut the video into 2 different parts, and the interesting thing is, in the second part, you are going to see how close this neighborhood is to one of the poorest neighborhoods in Toronto. Basically, you just cross the ravine and the bridge, and you're in St. James Town, which is one of the highest density neighborhoods in Toronto, and also one of the poorest, containing a lot of government housing. So you're going to see the contrasts of basically the richest neighborhood in Toronto, or one of the richest neighborhoods in Toronto, and one of the poorest, side by side. One of the interesting things about Toronto, how there can be very wealthy neighborhoods or very expensive condo towers right across the street from government housing or rundown buildings, or just basically poor neighborhoods. So stay tuned for part 2 of walking tour of Rosedale, Canada's most prominent old money neighborhood. David and Ken Thompson, one of the richest families in Canada, have homes in Rosedale, as does Jerry Schwartz, the founder of Onyx, and his wife, Heather Reisman, who's the founder of Indigo Books. They all have homes here in Rosedale. homes in this neighborhood are over 100 years old. Some go back as far as 200 years. So it's one of the oldest neighborhoods in Toronto. The population of Rosedale is just over 7,600 people, and the vast majority of those people come from families who originated from Scotland, England, and Ireland. But that's really no surprise, because this is an old money neighborhood, so most of the people in this area have had their wealth for generations. And basically over 100 years ago, the people that were coming to Canada were mostly from the UK, so no surprise there. Houses in Rosedale cost anywhere from $3 to $10 million. But if you are on a budget, you can find a detached house for around $2.5 million. One of the selling points of this neighborhood is that there's 3 different ravines running through the neighborhood, and they cut off a lot of the streets. There's also a lot of bridges, rivers, and parkland. So it's very hard to drive through this neighborhood without going, and also the streets are very curved and windy, lots of dead ends. So traffic doesn't go through here. You don't see too many cars driving through here because it just takes too long and it's too difficult to navigate. So they try to, cars stay on the major roads, which don't go through this neighborhood, most of them. So it's a good neighborhood because it's very quiet. The only problem is there's a lot of construction going on. There's a lot of road work. There's a lot of gardening, landscaping. So there's always a lot of noise going on during the day if you're in this neighborhood. Well, when you're walking through it, you always hear like construction workers or people renovating their homes and stuff like that. started up at Young and Bloor in the Yorkville area and took you down to the heart of Rosedale. And part 2 of this video continues in Rosedale and takes you across the ravine to one of Toronto's poorest neighborhoods, and that's St. Jamestown. So you get to see how the city contrasts from rich to rich and then from rich to poor. So stay tuned for part 2 of Walking Rosedale, Canada's most prominent old money neighborhood. this video is just about coming to a close. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time. Adios.